Hi, and welcome back to Chinese TCG Store. I'm here today with another market watch. Um, should be a little bit longer, so should be plenty of cards to look at today. With especially with the new set that's going to be coming out the 21st, which is Darkwing Blast. First card is Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Obviously, if you're familiar with Dragon Link and really any Dragon strategy, most of them are playing this card. It's just super powerful, being able to um, pop a card, any card on the field, and then being able to special summon a dragon, any dragon from your deck. Just super good. It only has two printings. Both are ultra rare. One is from Ghost from the Past, and one is the first printing was from Dual Power. They are pretty similar in price. However, if you are picking these up, I would go for the Dual Power. They're just higher quality than the Ghost from the Past. But these are going up in price. I remember I picked up, I think I have three of these. I don't have that many. I think I picked up a play set, one going in a Dragon Maid deck and one going in Dragon Link, and then one spare copy to sell. But when I picked them up, they were like under $5, like 450 or something like that. And they are moving up. First editions are now 775, and it does bottom out here on the first page to $8. And pretty low on listings, only 33 listings. And I think for the other ultra rare, there's 50 listings, and it's also around $6-7. So slowly but steadily going up in price. And yeah, I would get these before we get Darkwing Blast if you were going to play Dragon Link. At this point, I wouldn't invest in the card to resell. It's just already up quite a bit. But if you are playing the deck, it probably will still move up a little bit from here. So you might as well go ahead and grab them. Next is the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. I've covered this a couple of times over the last few months, but somebody mentioned this card in the last watch, so I figured we'd take a look at it again. Right now, the Secret Rare original print is starting off at $4 for near mint first edition, which is crazy to me. If you didn't know, this card was 17, I guess anywhere from 17 to 25 when Phantom Knights were really good, and of course before they got the reprint in last year's Megatens. And since they've got the reprint, it's fallen out in price. It's been under $6 for a while. I have picked up a couple of play sets of these just because I think it's really undervalued and it's a great looking secret rare. This card is ridiculous for Phantom Knights, no question about it. I still think Phantom Knights is a really good deck, and I think if you still want to build this deck, you're probably going to do really well at the locals level. You just probably wouldn't want to take it to like a YCS or something. But this deck is basically dirt cheap right now. Ultra rare, 70 cents here. Not bad either. I mean, that's okay if you just want to build the deck and build it as cheaply as possible. I honestly think you could build this deck, extra deck and all, for like under $200, maybe even under 150. Some of the staples that you would need, like, droplets and stuff, that's where the money is going to be at. But as far as the core, it's going to be extremely cheap, depending on what variation you want to play. I am putting together a version that searches Fusion Destiny, so I can go into DPE, which is going to be pretty fun, but that's definitely going to be a little bit more pricey because you do have to get 3 Fusion Destiny, which are now pretty expensive. But I did order a playset of the Ultimate Rare Fusion Destinies. I already have one that I ordered a couple of weeks ago for really, really cheap, and then I just decided to pick up 2 more and just try to mess around with the deck. You play it with like a Predaplant engine, which is how you get to your Fusion Destiny, assuming you don't draw one of your 3 copies. But that engine's also made up of level 3 dark monsters, so it kind of works pretty well actually. Next is number 60. So this got reprinted in Ghost from the Past, and this is one of the cards that, like, right when the set dropped, I really hyped up as far as picking up a bunch of copies of it because it was well under $1, like 60 cents, 65 cents. And it's just a great card, pretty generic. Any deck that can play rank 4s can make this. And it's, has a couple different effects, but you can either draw and discard, you can special summon a monster from your graveyard. And then I think there's some kind of attack related effect as well, but just super good. I think T Elements are playing this. I think a lot of the deck builds that I've seen are playing it, which is probably why it's going up in price. But if you pick these up for 60, 70 cents, these are going for like around $4 now. You might want to start selling some of them and, make some of your money back. I think I have like probably 15 to 20 copies of this, so I'll probably start selling some of mine as well. But I would still hang on to some. I wouldn't sell them all just because I do think this card will age well and potentially be up more towards $6 to $8 in the future if it doesn't get another reprint, of course. Next, I think this was also Young Ancestor, I believe, that mentioned this card. But this is a card I've been looking at as well. It's Animadored Archosaur, specifically the secret rare from Eternity Code. These are going for around $9, heading up to 10 pretty quickly. I think long term, these will do really well because Dinosaur is just a really good deck. It still is today. It's obviously not as good without Mist being at 3. It's at 1 now with the ban list, but still a very good deck. And I still think that you could do really well with it. And I did pick up a few copies of this when they were kind of down around $750. And honestly, the artwork and the secret rare, it just looks amazing. I would highly recommend getting a copy or two. You don't have to go crazy and buy like a bunch of play sets, but if you just want to get like a play set or a couple copies, I think that's perfectly fine. The ultra rare is going for like $1.20, which I don't think is bad, but I don't see this ever really going past $5 unless Mist comes back to 3. I just think that it's probably going to stay around $1 to $2, but I think secret rare is definitely good potential. Next is Branded Banishment. This is played at 1 copy in Branded Despia. It's a very strong card because it's essentially super poly. Except for you don't have to discard a card, which is nice. It's searchable, of course, in Branded Despia. These were, I think, when it came out, I got my playset for, I think they were $1 a copy. And I think it got initial hype, but then calmed back down, and now it's back to $4. So if you pick these up, you might not know that you have, a $4 or $5 card in your binder. And if you did pick up like a playset like I did to play around with, I have figured out that 1 copy is the most optimum build. So I'm just going to get rid of my other 2 copies and, get a little bit of change there. Droll and Lockbird. So I'm going to talk about the super rare, but it kind of applies for all Droll and Lockbirds. I think right now in the format that we're in, Ash Blossom, it just isn't cutting it. And I've been taking Ash Blossom out for the most part. I can still keep it like in the side deck just in case, but I've been playing Droll and Lockbird, and it's honestly been a lot better. My experience with playing Ash Blossom was that it just wasn't really stopping anything. They might like force your opponent to go into like a less optimal play, but they would still get to their end board, no problem. Whereas Droll really kind of limited the people I was playing against. There are situations where you're playing maybe like a control deck where Droll is not very good, but in that case, just side it out. Or at the very least, just put Droll in your side deck and maybe just still main your Ash and leave that as an option. But I think high impact hand traps are kind of the way to go right now with like the power level. Like with Tearlaments and Branded Despia and stuff. I just think it's a really good card. And then once we get like Bestial to come out, like that deck's gonna search quite a bit as well. So I think it's gonna be pretty effective there. But most decks are searching more than once. So I think it's still a pretty good card. These have like kind of fallen out since we got the rare reprint. Right now around $8.50 going up to $10 here, $11 for Nair Mint. And before this was a solid like $25 card. Occasionally bought out like where it was like $30 plus, but I think it's a really good deal for that $8 to $10 range. And I think the ultra rares are going for around 10 to 11 as well. But I think the super rare is the better version. Definitely harder to get, being that it's from OTS Tournament Pack 1. The collector rares are going for $75, which is really good as well. But that card does have a ceiling with the ultimate rare being around, I think, 160 at this point, which is pretty good too. If you want to get the ultimate rare, it's probably a good time to get those as well, because those were up towards 300 before the collector rare and the rare came out. It was like maybe like 260 to 300, somewhere in there. And then I looked at the rares as well, and those are going for like $2 flat and free shipping if you have the subscription, or like 99 cents for bulk copies, like for shipping. I mean, which is pretty good. I see those fluctuate between like really like 1.99 to like $2.75. They kind of just keep bouncing back and forth. I do think that it's going to be a solid $5-6 card in the future though, so I would make sure you just keep your eye on the card, and if you see it dip below like $2.10 or $2, which it's at like right now, just go pick up a couple of play sets. I have some of mine right here, but these are all Droll and Lockbirds. I need to find a place to put them though, because kind of just have them sitting underneath my desk. I don't want to fill up my like trade binders either, because I'll be sitting on those for a while, most likely. Okay, next card here is Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Same kind of deal. Like, I will talk specifically about the Prismatic Secret Rare, but I'm also kind of speaking to the other Ghost Girls that we got in the Megatins, like Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogre, for the most part, just the Prismatic Secret Rare ones. The super rare Ghost Girls are fine too if you want to pick up a few play sets, but particularly these secret rares are really good. So these are going for around under 250, which is insane to me. I really thought this card would hold up above $5. I didn't think it was going to be above 10, but I thought maybe $5 to $7. But these weren't really short printed. I actually got I think I pulled 2 copies of this in one case, but I did get a play set of Ash and a play set of Ogre. But that's just the way it worked out. I didn't get any Prosperity or Lightning Storms or Droplets for that matter. Yep, so starting off here at 225, which is just insane to me, and then bottoming out around 350. If you want to come, pick up these cheap copies, it's probably worth it. I guess it seems like though on these cheaper copies, it's mainly just 1 or 2 copies. I think 2 for 225 is pretty good, but ideally you'd want to pick up a couple of play sets. So just keep your eye on this, like these cards, these secret rare Ghost Girls, and if you can find like 2 or 3 play sets from a seller that's selling them for under $3, I would advise going for it. It's just really good price right now. Next is Duelist Saga. So I just wanted to pull this up for a minute because some people have asked me about sealed and what sealed stuff they should get. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of buying sealed things for a couple of reasons. One, I don't like to store it. It's, I live in an apartment, so that's a lot of storage, having sealed product. But 2, a lot of times you have to sit on it for years, which is fine. I do buy some sealed things and sit on them. But I'm very selective with what I pick for sealed. Yeah, I guess that's it. And I have gone over, you can check out some of my previous videos if you want to go more in depth, where I think it's the investment video that I did on investing in singles and sealed products, and I go very in depth on it. But one sealed product that I think is pretty good is the Duelist Saga boxes. These are quite expensive. I do believe the retail was 20 to 25 on these. Let me know if you know, but they are $63. But I do think that this set is probably, I guess, maybe 10 years old at this point. No, not 10 years old. It's at least 5 or 6, but I don't think it's not quite 10, but it's pretty old at this point. And it was the only set to have these ultra rares, like as far as the style of ultra rare. It's like a type of ultra rare that they haven't brought back for some reason. I don't know why, because they actually look really good. I remember at the time people were very split. People either loved them or they hated them. But I think over time, people have kind of started to appreciate them more and more. And there's just a lot of value in this set. Plenty of cards, over the $8 to $10 range. Actually, Necro Valley sold out around $20. Just looking through here, there's plenty of cards with a lot of value. More than I actually remembered, I guess. But lots of good staples for different formats. You've got like GOAT format in here. There's still some modern staples in here, like Pot of Duality, Harpy's Featherstorm, which is still seeing play in Flinderies. Rescue Cat for Tri Brigade, Heroes Lives for Heroes. That's always going to be a relevant card, which is now at 3. Necro Valley is actually seeing quite a bit of play right now. Like all the copies are pretty much sold out. And then you have some of the classic cards like Blue Eyes White Dragon, which I think this is actually a really cool version of this card. But I still think $60 is not bad for this. I wouldn't go crazy and buy like a case or anything unless you like could find a really good deal on it. But having a couple of these probably wouldn't bad. I could see this being up towards like 100 plus, a couple of years down the road. It's just a super cool set to have as well. Again, it's super special. This is the only set that has this kind of ultra rare foiling in it, and I don't know that they'll ever bring this back. They probably have forgotten about this, maybe, I guess, but just something to keep your eyes on going forward. Next, I wanted to look at some of the artifact cards and see where they're at, especially after the ban list. The first card here is Dagda, which is, I don't think, nearly as relevant with how gone it kind of gets rid of the punk combo where you could go into your King of Calamities, which I thought was like a super cool play. I guess that's unrelated, but the other combo, you had like 2 options with the punks and, Dagda and everything. You could go into King of Calamities, or you could go into Dagda and then pop your Scythe with Wonder Magician, summing that off of Hulk Fibrax. That's kind of gone, so I don't really know what people are using Dagda for anymore, unless they just have a deck that can pop Scythe on its own. I guess one deck that comes to mind would be Phantom Knights. They're able to summon back their level 3 Xyz monster from the graveyard, and when it touches the zone that Bardiche touches or points to, then it can pop a card on the field. So that's one way I know that you could do it, but I'm sure there's other decks that can. Secret Rare Sanctums are going for around 10. Again, this is another option if you want to play Scythe. I wouldn't advise it unless you're playing a control deck, just because it can be bricky playing this, but up to you. I still think $10 isn't bad for this card, though. The Secret Rare looks amazing. I do have, I think, I have one of the original Ultra Rares, or I have a playset of the original Ultra Rares and a couple of these Secret Rares. It's a good card to have. Lancia is, let's actually look on this. This is the one I'm interested in. I believe the last time we talked about this, they were going for around $4.50 when they weren't seeing much play. And they're still not seeing that much play today, but I think they probably are up a little bit. $7.32 going up to 8 here, bottoming out towards 8.50. Hopefully you pick these up at 4.50. I have 2 play sets of this. One I'll always keep, and then the other one I'll probably sell when it goes back to 12.15. This is one of those cards that I pick up when it's cheap, sell when it's expensive, and it just kind of goes through that cycle consistently. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see on the market price here, it's well into the mid to lower 4s here when I talked about it. And before then, it had come back up. It's up around, $14 to $15, which I remember that as well. That's when I sold one of my play sets, and then I bought it back when it was under $5. But moving back up again, so something to keep your eye on here. Definitely could be useful in the upcoming format. This would definitely put a stop to Bisted, because I need to be able to banish. But at the same time, if you're playing a deck that needs to banish cards, it's not very good, because I imagine if you were trying to counter Bysted, you would play this on your turn if you're going first, so that they can't banish your cards from the graveyard, but at the same time, you're locked out of banishing, which is not very good. But it's still a good card, especially if you're playing a deck that doesn't need to banish some monsters, or if you want to play it going second and drop this while they're going first, and you don't need to banish anything, so you just kind of lock them out of their plays, especially against something like Branded Despia. Tearlaments, I don't think this really works well against them, but let me know. I haven't played Tearlaments in a while. I tried to test it out when it first came out, but I honestly can't remember everything that deck does. I don't think they banish. They mainly just send things to the graveyard and then shuffle back into the deck, from what I remember. Next is Dragunity. So I wanted to take a quick look at this because I have been playing around with Dragon Link and Dragon Maid, and there's a really cool small package of Dragunity that you can play, and you can either make a Crystal Wing Dragon, which is really cool, without using your normal summon. Or you can also go into the Herratic Tum Dragon, the Xyz monster that special summons any dragon from your deck, which is pretty good. All along, you're adding dragon monsters to your hand off Gatorg, which is pretty good. But I'll cover the specific cards that you need. On the Dragunity side, you do need a Tum as well and Crystal Wing, but Gatorg is one of the cards that you need. If you remember, this was up towards like $60 at one point when Dragon Link was playing around with it. I think this was like a couple of years ago, or maybe at least a year ago. But $15 is not really bad here for first edition. Definitely a good version to get. There also is a reprint ultra rare, the version I currently am playing around with, that is, I think it's like 70 cents. It's really cheap. A lot of the cards you need, I will say, are from the first Ghost from the Past, which is nice. Remus is the card that you need 3 copies of. And these are going up in price. These had, kind of slowed down over the last few months, but now I think they're picking up a little bit of steam. Super good card. If you don't know what it does, you discard it from your hand, and you can add a Dragon Ravine from your deck to your hand. And then once you have a Dragunity monster on your field, which you can special summon since you have Dragon Ravine, then you can special summon this card back from your grave. So you're going to have Legatus, because you add Legatus off your Dragon Ravine once you activate Dragon Ravine, which then can special summon itself to your field, and then that triggers Remus, where you can special summon Remus to your field, and then the 2 is, you synchro off for a Gatorg, which lets you add a Dragon or Winged Beast monster to your hand, and then you discard a Dragon or Winged Beast. What you're actually adding from your deck to your hand off that is Mist Valley Baby Rock, because you discard that. Its effect triggers engrave, it special summons itself back, and then bada bing, you have a level 2 tuner and a level 6 synchro, so you can make your Crystal Wing, which is pretty cool. The combo does lock you into dragons, I believe, from your extra deck. It locks you into dragon summons from your extra deck for the rest of the turn. But if you're playing Dragon Maid, if you're playing Dragon Link, that doesn't really matter. I think in total, the main deck package is 7 cards. I can't remember if that includes Dragon Ravine, but if you're playing Dragon Link or Dragon Maid, it doesn't matter. You're playing Ravine anyways. Well, for Dragon Link, not Dragon Maid, but you get it. These are going for $3. It seems like these are going up in price as well, but you only need 1 copy of this card. And then there's a couple of other cards you need. There's one of the older super rares from the structure deck that came out, which is going to be right here. It's the Dragunity Arma Mistletoe, maybe Mistletoe. Under $1 for lightly played first edition, which is pretty good. You just need 1 copy of that as well. And I'm not going to scroll all the way down to Dragunity Glow. Actually, let's just search it, because earlier when I was looking, I couldn't find it. But for the Atum, while this is loading, for the Herratic Atum Dragon, whatever it's called, something like that, I know it's Atum is definitely in there. I would, if you're planning on playing Bysted at all, like, doesn't matter what deck you're playing it in. Well, if it's a dragon deck specifically, I would pick that card up, because once you get 2 level 6 monsters on the field, you can just go right into your Atum, and then it lets you special summon any dragon from your deck, which is pretty good. So Glow is now going for, I guess, almost up to $2 here, which is crazy. I think this was definitely moving down in value. Let's see, over a year, so it had spiked up to $4, and it's kind of at a low point now. So yeah, if you want to get this, you only need 1 copy of this as well, because this is searchable off of Romulus, which you do need Romulus, but most people are gonna be playing Romulus and Dragon Link, of course. I'm trying to think of what else we have. Okay, so the last card is going to be Borrelend Dragon. If you're playing Dragon Link, you're playing this card. And honestly, I would even probably try to play this in Dragon Maid as well. But I think it's pretty generic. I'm actually going to read it real quick. But I think it's a generic requirement for summoning. But at the same time, I don't know that this would be the best card to play if you don't if you're not playing Dragon Link, because even though it is like pretty much like a towers monster, hard to get over, it's got the negating effect, but you have to be able to special summon a rocket monster from your graveyard. Yep, so you target one rocket monster in your graveyard, negate the effects of the monster on the field, and if you do, special summon that other monster from the graveyard, which is a great effect for Dragon Link, for helping you like just kind of climb into your plays. But this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, neither player can target this card with monster effects, which is pretty good. It's just really hard to get over this card. And this card's kind of like Borrelend Dragon, but even better. Not even like Borrelend. I would say it's like Invoke Purgatrio, where it can attack every monster on the field, which is really good. And it can still attack directly, of course. But that's mainly it. And the negate effect's really good too if you are playing Dragon Link, because your opponent can't respond to the effect, which is really good. And that's also a quick effect too, so it's not only in your turn, you can do it on your opponent's turn. So pretty good there. These are going for 75 cents lowest and bottoming out here to $1.25. This card has no business being $1.25. This honestly should be $4 to $5. And potentially higher. Depends on how long it goes without a reprint, but people are always going to play Dragon Link or in dragons in general, and this card's ridiculous. But yeah, it just needs 3+ effect monsters as well, which is nice. It's not like that Underworld Goddess where it's got to be, I think, what was it, 4+ effect monsters, which is just ridiculous. You can easily go into this card pretty much as a Link 5. It's an easy way to get extra resources off your board too that you don't need. But with Dragon Link, it's super easy with like your Delindrous Dragon and your Triple Burst and Quad Boral. It makes it so easy to go into this card. But that's going to be everything for today. Let me know if there's anything that you want to go over in the next market watch, or if I missed any like buyouts. I don't think there was that many today, other than ones that I've already shown in the last week. But yeah, I guess that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.